Our media availability special presented by YouTube TV continues. Last 3:05 of Game 5 after the timeout that has been talked about. Probably the second biggest topic after KD from Game 5 for a lot of people. I saw many media outlets and folks who do what we do. I was not one of them saying it cost them the game. Never the reason that the game is over, but momentum decision, it was an odd one at best. Let's be honest.
It was definitely an odd one because you gave the Warriors a chance to reset their offense defensively. Kawhi Leonard was basically putting the Raptors on his back down the stretch. So if you call that timeout, you come out of the timeout and you get a stop, he's looking like a genius. But we're talking about the Splash Brothers. You gave Steph Curry and Klay Thompson an opportunity to reset, set some better screens, and they come off those screens and knock down shots. So we look at this last play here. Kyle Lowry's calling timeout. Look at Kawhi Leonard trying to figure out what we want to do, and the timeout's called. So to our point, Casey, if you come out of that timeout and you get a stop and you score, he's looking like a genius. But it didn't happen that way. You gave the Warriors time to reset their offense, and they torched you.
When a fighter is down and on the mat, and they're waiting for the bell to ring to save them,
right.
It's for this reason.
Exactly.
A rest.
Yes.
A regroup.
Yes.
A break.
Yes.
Those are things you don't want to give. And I think this was the first time we remembered that he was a rookie. Let's be honest. This is a hell of a job that he has done this entire run as a guy who's never been through this, right? And I think you could lose maybe sight of the most important thing. He said afterwards in the presser, DZ, I wanted to give my players a breather, but you have a deeper team.
Right.
You have them on the ropes. You have the hottest player and the best player on the floor right now at his best after a rough game for Kawhi. I think even if he doesn't say it, I think he learns from that moment. Because to be honest with you, I think you'd make more of a case, you tell me, to use a timeout at the end and call a play so you could free Kawhi and not allow Iguodala to easily double and force what was still a great play by Draymond against Lowry. You probably get a better shot, I think, if you call it out of bounds.
Well, I think now, to your point, Casey, Nick Nurse has found a teaching moment for himself. Just like every day they come back and they show the film, what the players did wrong and did right. Well, it's the same thing for the coaches. Nick Nurse to learn from this situation, learn that you don't want to give guys like Klay Thompson and Steph Curry some rest and to regroup and reset their offense. And I think that's the biggest thing he'll learn.
And let's be fair, for people who don't realize this, when we say this is, because it's great rhetoric to say, oh, and this is why they lost the game. No, it's not. Because think about how many things in the last 2.5 minutes could have gone the other way. First of all, the goaltending was a great play by Boogie.
Great effort.
And shouldn't have been interference. And they didn't call it back because it was inconclusive. That could have gone either way.
Right.
You got a foul the NBA admits where Boogie looked like he got Gasol, which wasn't called. You had a backcourt. What if it wasn't a backcourt? And Draymond, there's so many things that went into that bananas. But at the forefront was shots. And the Warriors made them, and the Raptors didn't. And that was the biggest difference last 3 minutes.
And if you look at the defense by the Raptors, all playoffs long, especially in the finals, they were doing a pretty good job. The big guys showing at the end of those pin-down screens. The last three that Steph Curry made, there was no show by the big guy. He knocks it down. We know Kawhi Leonard's a great defensive player, right? Little pump fake, gets Klay Thompson lets him run by, he squares up and knocks it down. So little plays like that down the stretch, they paid attention to detail, the Raptors didn't.
And remember, when you look at the Raptors, I mean, really, they were, you don't want to say lucky, but I think to some point lucky to be even where they were in that game because, look, KD had come out hot and certainly gave them an advantage.
Yep.
Kawhi didn't play extremely well until that one run where he was just on one. Siakam maybe had his worst game of the series. Gasol had made some big shots. But Van Vliet had missed a couple of those Van Vliet threes. He's hitting tough shots all the time, so it's not like they've been easy. Those things weren't going their way. They were missing some easy tip-ins. They weren't getting second-chance points. So there are a number of reasons the game went the way it did. The way it ends, though, is because of the two guys that have made this building what it has been for the last decade. And that's where I want to go with you as a shooter. How much do you even admire that in moments, quote-unquote, the level of poise and slow the game down kind of an it thing that Steph and Klay continue to bring?
There's a certain confidence when watching Steph and Klay play that I get excited about because as a shooter, we always say next shot's always going down. So to watch those guys miss a couple shots, they never waver. They know there's another screen being set for them. They know in the half-court set, they are looking for them first. Until that shot clock gets around 5 seconds, Draymond, Iguodala, the rest of those guys are not even looking at the rim. So that makes you feel good as a shooter. Keep moving, keep running. Screens will be set for you all night long because you, in your mind, in your heart, the next shot's always going in.
All right, we will keep it moving in the minds and hearts of everyone, Oracle will also make sure to be careful with the set because
I didn't
sometimes
see that.
my strength of a tap is more than you even realize. Don't let me touch it, DZ.
I didn't do it.
We continue with our NBA Finals coverage presented by YouTube TV. Here's Steve Kerr.
But we have no news, and we will have, as soon as we have some news on any updates, we'll let you know. Any questions?
Take the first question right here on 2.
Sandeep Chanak with Yahoo Sports. Coach, tomorrow's the last game at Oracle, and obviously you guys would like to end it with a win, but regardless of that, what has Oracle meant to you over the years?
This has been just an incredible environment in which to coach and play back in the day, even when the Warriors weren't any good. To come in here as a visitor and feel the energy in this building, you could tell that the fans loved the game, that this was a basketball hotbed, and just the atmosphere out there, the energy, the noise. Over the last 5 years with our team's rise, combined with that organic energy that this place has always had. It's just been an incredible experience to coach here.
What's been your favorite memory from Oracle that you can remember?
My favorite memory was winning the Western Conference Finals in 2015. We beat Houston in Game 5 to advance to the finals, and it was surreal. We weren't sure we were good enough to do it, and the fans hadn't seen anything like that in 40 years. So that was, to me, when this sort of all started.
Okay, if we can try to hold it to one question, we can get around the room as fast as we can. Tim on the right side.
Steve, Tim Reynolds with the AP. Many times in this series, you've talked about a need for better transition D, better half-court D. What was your assessment of the defense you guys played in Game 5, particularly on the perimeter?
I thought we played pretty well. We can always do better, but our guys competed like crazy. That's the main thing. Toronto's tough to guard because they've got a lot of passers and a lot of shooters. They put you in some difficult spots, but everybody who came in was prepared to play, and they were flying around and rotating. We did everything we could to hang in the game on the road, and we were able to pull it out. So we know that's what it's going to take here as well.
Ann here in the center in the second row.
Hi, Steve. Ann Killian, San Francisco Chronicle. I know we're only supposed to do one question, but I'd love to get a comment from you on the news about Lindsey Gottlieb.
Yeah.
But also, everyone is looking to point fingers. Bob the other night said, you can blame me on talk radio. It's like, who's to blame for this? What do you think about this whole conversation going on about someone has to be to blame for Kevin getting hurt?
I'll answer the Lindsay question first. Thrilled for Lindsay. Gotten to know her pretty well the last few years. She's visited our practices many times. I'm a transplanted Cal fan since I've had two kids there. So I'm disappointed for Cal that they're losing such a dynamic person and a great coach, but I'm thrilled for Lindsay. What a great opportunity and a great hire by the Cavaliers. She's a wonderful person and a hell of a coach. The second part of the question, I completely understand the world we live in. As Bob mentioned the other night, there's going to be blame. There's going to be finger pointing, and we understand that, and we accept that. This is kind of what you sign up for when you get into coaching, general management in the NBA. There's all kinds of coverage, judgment, criticism, and it's all part of it. So we accept that. The main thing is our concern for Kevin, and these last couple of days just checking on him. Obviously, everybody feels horrible for what happened. We, as Bob mentioned the other night, this last month was a cumulative, collaborative effort in his rehabilitation. And that collaboration included Kevin and his business partner, Rich Kleinman, our medical staff, his own outside opinion, second opinion doctor outside of our organization. And Kevin checked all the boxes, and he was cleared to play by everybody involved. Now, would we go back and do it over again? Damn right. But that's easy to say after the results. When we gathered all the information, our feeling was the worst thing that could happen would be a re-injury of the calf, and that was the advice and the information that we had. And at that point, once Kevin was cleared to play, he was comfortable with that. We were comfortable with that. So the Achilles came as a complete shock, and I don't know what else to add to that other than, had we known that this was a possibility, that this was even in the realm of possibility, there's no way we ever would have allowed Kevin to come back. So it's devastating, mostly for Kevin, obviously, but I feel horribly for Rick as well, Celebrini, who is one of the best people I've ever been around, and one of the smartest, brightest minds that I've ever been around. He's devastated. Bob, the team, we all are. But we made the decision collaboratively with all the information that we had, and we thought it was the right one.
Bruce, back left.
Right here, Steve. Bruce Arthur from the Toronto Star. After Kevin's injury, you guys came back in that game with big shots from kind of big game players. You're someone who's made shots at the highest levels of pressure in this game and who's coached guys who have made shots, stars and not, at the highest levels of pressure in this game. What does it take as a shooter, as a player, to, when the pressure is at its highest, this kind of back nine Sunday at the Masters pressure that this level of the series will provide? What does it take to be able to step into, take, and make those shots?
A willingness to miss and accept the consequences of missing. Until you get to that point, it's going to be tough. So you have to go into it knowing that even if you are the best in the world, you're going to miss half the time. If you can hit half your game-winning shots, that's a hell of a percentage. So, but if you go into it thinking, oh man, I don't want to miss, it's a big situation, then you're defeated already.
Karith, here, right here.
Hi, Steve. Karith Burke, NBC Sports Bay Area. Going back to Lindsey Gottlieb and also Swin Cash getting a front office job with the Pelicans, do you feel like change is happening in the NBA, that women are finding entry points to the league that's reviewing their resumes and recognizing their talent?
Yeah, it does feel that way. Obviously, two big hires in the last few days. I think the women's game has gotten so much better. Last year's WNBA playoffs were so compelling. The Phoenix-Seattle series was incredible basketball. And I just think the talent that we're seeing, the level of play, is probably helping women to gain positions in the men's game. So it's great to see, and I'm really happy for Swin and for Lindsey, of course, and hopefully there'll be many more.
Thank you, Steve. We'll have Curry in here next.
First of all, just following up on that, we knew that we had a brilliant guy who worked here with us in David Griffin, but also smart hires have continued, and congrats to Swin, obviously, a member of our family, and to Lindsey and to the Cavaliers and Coach Beeline and their staff as well. Let's get to the Kevin Durant thing. First of all, we'll update as known. I personally wouldn't be surprised, although you can never be with leaks, if we didn't hear about this or this was pushed till tomorrow at all. It wouldn't be surprised because, look, at MRI, the results have to come out.
Right.
Then they have to discuss it. Then it has to be, how do you want to position it? What statements? Who's going to make statements? There's a lot that goes on there with that, but we don't know anything right now. Let's talk about what we do know. Steve Kerr saying, among other things, that clearly if we had known there was any possibility that something with an Achilles could occur, we would have never let him play. Not trying to make you Dr. 3D, but even I would think, same leg, how do you not feel like it's possible that you could have impact on other areas in that region by pushing the way he has the last few weeks to get back. Is it fair for them to say they had no idea whatsoever that it would be possible he could hurt his Achilles?
No, there's no way, Casey, we can have idea of what further injury can happen to us. But we can almost guarantee it's just virtually impossible to take the time off. That's what I'm still stuck with. It's hard to take 32, 33 days off and think you can come back and be that guy we all love, arguably the best player on the planet right now, walking in tennis shoes. That's what I'm still stuck with. So I was hoping one of the doctors would come up and just step up and say, hey, guys, I know you're down 3-1. I know you want to win another championship, and I know KD's taking all these hits on social media. Does he really want to play basketball? I just felt like someone should have stepped up and said, KD, we love you. Sit down and we'll see you next year.
Yeah, and look, he got two opinions because remember, he got his own. We don't know that he wasn't told that from the team, and then his own team said yes. I mean, who knows?
We don't know, exactly.
Here's Steph Curry.
Come on, boss. I got a chair.
All right, Krista, first question right here on the front on 1. The microphone's coming right over.
Hey guys, Trista Crick, USA Today. I would love to hear from both of you guys whether you actually think momentum is real, and if so, does it carry over from game to game, in your opinion and your experience?
It's definitely a real thing. It's just a matter, can you capitalize on it? You know, once the next game starts, and lock in and focus on details and kind of see the adjustments the other team is going to make, especially in the playoff series, because that happens. They watch film, try to tinker a little bit, but momentum and just confidence in terms of what we're trying to accomplish every possession, every quarter in order to win the game. It's definitely a real thing.
Mark on the left side.
It's for Steph and Clay, Mark Medina, Bay Area News Group. What do you expect the emotions will be like tomorrow knowing Kevin's out and final game at Oracle?
I expect us to obviously come out and play as hard as we can. We're not even thinking about the future. We're just thinking about enjoying this last show at Oracle. We're about to give our fans. And I expect our fans to be the loudest they've ever been, especially in the name of Kevin and, you know, bringing his type of spirit he would bring to the fight and the competitiveness. I know our fans will do that because we deserve it, but more importantly, Kevin does for what he gave this team, this organization. There wouldn't be banners if it wasn't for his presence, so we expect our crowd to be loud for him.
Mark over here on the left.
For both of you guys, Mark Schwartz, ESPN, I know you're trying to take something from him right now, but during this long series on this stage, what has impressed or blown you away most about Kawhi Leonard?
I mean, he's a gamer. He's shown that he's a Finals MVP back in San Antonio Spurs days for a reason, and he just makes winning plays, and he's obviously expanded his game since then and has shown offensively how dynamic he is. He requires attention at all times, so even really good defense, sometimes he finds a way, but for us, it's just playing the long game, understanding he might have great numbers and whatnot. It's just a matter, can we get the stops that matter? Can we win? Can we win the game? Any way that it takes, and he's just a competitor, and so we respect that for sure. And he's shown that again this entire playoff run that they've had.
So Roland the Guardian, Kevin Durant Instagram that his soul was hurting after last game. Have you guys had a chance to check in with him? How's he doing? How are you guys doing? And how much are you guys going to be playing for him come tomorrow?
I mean, this first 24 hours, there's not much you can say in terms of him going through the process, figuring out how the extent of the injury and what the roadmap's going to look like coming back. But I don't think much needs to be said about the motivation that we have or are going to have tomorrow. Like Clay said, to protect our home court, feed off our crowd's energy, play for K, and try to keep our season alive. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can kind of tap into for energy tomorrow. We'll be ready.
Michael in the center.
Michael Grange from Sportsnet. This would be for either of you guys. Coming out of that timeout in Game 5, you each hit huge shots. It's nothing new for either of you in terms of hitting shots in big moments. Did you feel that coming on? Did you think that you guys were about to do something pretty special? And just in the bigger picture, what's it feel like to be stepping into shots like that really matter?
I don't think we anticipated that to happen. We just kind of go out there and play. We're very in tune with each other, being that we've played with each other for years. So when we hit the open man, like Steph doesn't stop moving. That's how he got that curl three. Same with me. Draymond sacrificed his body, set a great screen. So it just comes down to having the chemistry we do with the team and just playing that ball movement type of basketball. And then I'm very on the defensive end, I think, is where we won that game. Just being able, just Draymond and Andre making huge reads to, all-world defenders. And then as far as stepping into those shots, we practice those every single day. So, and I know Steph's been doing it for 10 years with this organization, and me 8. So we know what it's like to take those, and we can live with the make or miss. It's just what it comes down to.
Dan, towards the middle.
Guys, also for either of you, Dan Wicke with the Los Angeles Times. Obviously, Kevin won't play the rest of this year, so that means the Death lineup or the Hamptons 5 lineup won't be out there. How important of a tool has that been for you guys since he's gotten here? And what do you think sort of the lasting legacy of that lineup and the way that kind of changed the way teams played? What do you think that'll be?
I don't know much about the second part of that question, but just in terms of when we're healthy and we have all those 5 guys out there, the chemistry is solid because we don't take over each other's spots on the floor, and we all bring something different to the table. And we work off each other really well. There's a trust factor and just a rhythm to it on both ends of the floor. And I think we all just enjoy the pace that we can play with and the speed that we can show. So, it's just one of those things that when you see those 5 guys out there, something good's about to happen. And really, you don't know where it's going to come from, too. That's the best part about it. And we all enjoy each other's successes. So, it's a great lineup. Obviously, I don't know the lasting legacy or whatever. Hopefully, there's still more of that to come.
Over on the far right.
Josh Peter with USA Today. Steph, there's some video online showing your parents getting heckled pretty bad outside the team hotel in Toronto. In light of what happened with Aisha, the fan getting arrested for the vulgar comments and some of the aggressive fan behavior, what do you make of what's happened?
I think in terms of being in the finals 5 years in a row and being on the stage, it's hard to avoid those interactions with fans that want to kind of impose or make their imprint on the series somehow, some way, especially with social media these days. So I think it's kind of stupid, to be honest, in terms of people camping outside our hotel just to yell expletives at either us or our family members or whatever the case is. But we handle all that stuff with class and try to ignore it the best we can. And if they get something out of it, so be it. But it doesn't affect us at all in terms of what we're trying to do and how we, carry ourselves, us as team, as players, and people that represent us and our families as well.
Ann in the front.
Ann Kelly in San Francisco Chronicle. For both you guys, you're elite athletes, and there's a lot of talk right now about who's to blame for what happened to Kevin, if the organization pressured him, if he felt pressure from his teammates. I'm just wondering if, Clay, you've recently been injured, Steph, you've been injured in the past. What's your feeling about that kind of conversation about the blame game?
I mean, everybody has great 20/20 hindsight, and it's 24 hours in a day, and there's a lot of different takes you can have on a situation like that. In our cases, and as well as Kay, and knowing him as a person and behind the scenes, we all want to play basketball. Like, if we have an opportunity to play or a chance to play, we want to play, and that's just how it is as competitors, and especially at this stage. So I trust our medical staff and know Bob Myers has our best interest in terms of not just what we can do in this series, but long term and our overall health. So you can see how hard he took it, talking to you guys after the game, and that's really genuine and authentic. So you can waste time talking about the what ifs and this and that. Injuries are tough and they suck, and they're a part of our game, and they're going to continue to be a part of our game. But everybody, putting their collective, brains together to make the sound, smart decisions, and you kind of just live with that because that's what's a part of our game.
I agree with Steph.
Scott, and then towards the back.
Scott Ostler, San Francisco Chronicle. For both you guys, the Splash Brothers, is that just a corny nickname, or is there something more to that? And also, had Kevin kind of achieved full status in that brotherhood or not?
I guess he didn't win enough Finals MVPs too. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he is above and beyond a Splash Brother with his ability. I don't think me and Steph, we could practice as many jump shots as we want. We still can't rise up and shoot over any man on this earth. So I don't think we need to include him in the Splash Bros to validate his talent and his skill, because it's pretty obvious to the human eye how great of an athlete he is.
Clay's just stingy. He wants that nickname for ourselves. He's not going to be giving that out to anybody.
Last one towards the back.
Jet Lu from the World Journal. Both of you guys, after Kevin's injury, his mother, mentioned the people who question him don't know him. He has a heart of true warrior. In your mind, what kind of person is KD? Why do so many people question him?
That's just the nature of the game these days. It happens to the greatest athletes to ever play. Every athlete at his level has gone through it, whether it's been Kevin, Muhammad Ali, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, baseball players, Wayne Gretzky. They've all been questioned, especially in this day and age with the media and the 24-hour news cycle. There's going to be talking heads talking about his game and whatnot. That just comes with the territory. But we know who he is. We've won championship with him. I've played in international games with him. I've seen him every day in the gym. You don't need to question someone's heart or desire to play when you see their daily work and their resume. This man's won every accolade there is. So for these people to say that, it's really just irresponsible and stupid, because this man's been a basketball prodigy since he was 15, and his skill level is not attained unless you put the work in.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so there are the Splash Brothers, and giving love to Kevin Durant. And the news now official because it comes from him on Instagram. What's good, everybody? I wanted to update you all. I did rupture my Achilles. Surgery today. It was a success. Easy money. Road back starts now. I got my family and loved ones by my side. Truly appreciate the messages and support people send our way. Like I said Monday, I'm hurting deeply, but I am okay. Basketball is my biggest love, and I wanted to be out there that night because that's what I do. I wanted to help my teammates on our quest for the three-peat. It's just the way things go in this game, and I'm proud that I gave it all I had physically, and that I'm proud my brothers got the W. It's going to be a journey, but I'm built for this. I'm a hooper. I know my brothers can get Game 6, and I'll be cheering with Dub Nation while they do it. That from Kevin Durant. So as expected, and again, I mean, look, you never want to infer anything. When Bob Myers looked the way that he did, I think it was clear that we all knew what it was and to what extent it is. And now you hope that patience and your luck and, God willing, everything else that's required will all be there to get him back, not only on the court but as the Kevin Durant we know.
Well, just knowing that my good friend Dominique Wilkins went through this, we know he was a high flyer and all-star. He was able to come back from the injury and get back to his status. So, KD, I know you're a hard worker. I know you're a hooper. I know you're going to do what's best for you to get your legs back right. And more importantly, make sure you don't lose the love of basketball that you've had your whole life, which that's the only thing I'm concerned about right now. Because I know he's going to put in the rehab. I know he's going to put in the work. Just hopefully he doesn't lose love for the game like we know he has.
Yeah, look, people are going to bring up timetables and start doing all sorts of things. First of all, every person is different. Every athlete is different.
Right.
Every body is different. Every rehab is different. So if somebody came back in 9 months or somebody took 14, it doesn't mean Kevin Durant's going to take 9 or 14.
But all those people, you weren't trying to come back and be the best basketball player in America. That's the biggest difference.
And by the way, that's not what you were going to be paid to do by the teams that whether you opt in at 31 here or even maybe more likely get a max for 4 and end up playing 3 somewhere else.
Exactly.
They are doing that because they are getting the Kevin Durant. You have to be to an unbelievable level for somebody to say, which everyone is saying, hey, look, you'll have plenty of max offers with a ruptured Achilles.
Right.
That's how great this dude is.
Right.
But that's the dude they want back. So that means don't play next year. I don't want to hear you talk about playoffs or coming back. No. Now, being fair, if he opts in here, he is going to want, and I'm sure his desire will be, because the playoffs take a few months, if you haven't noticed, his desire will be to come back, show that he could play long enough to then say, hi, I'm healthy, and go out and earn what he was to earn here. I think that is probably his goal.
No question about it. At the end of the day, like I said before, I just hope he doesn't lose the love of the game that we've seen his whole life. Long as that stays there through the rehab, we've seen so many guys come back from different injuries. But when you're going through that rehab, sometimes you question yourself, can I get back to being that guy? Can I get back to being the most dominant player on the floor when healthy? That's the part through the rehab I hope he doesn't lose.
And look, don't. I think people underrate human heart and the family element. I mean, I say this all the time, and in this sport, think about a sport like baseball, they get 18 days off during the season. This is the family you have in there, right? Just like we're a family here, anyone else.
Right.
So when he sees the reactions from his teammates, from Bob Myers, from the fans, don't think he's not feeling that love too. So I have seen it. Look, I have no knowledge at all. I mean, at least not about this.
Right.
Shush. But people are saying that, well, discounting the opportunity for him to opt in here at 31, and he'll definitely take. Don't make that mistake. No. Because don't think that he doesn't consider that important and that loyalty. When you're in your lowest moment and people give you that much love, there is a value to that where he'd still get 31, could still prove he's healthy in the playoffs or by the end of the year, probably if it took a year timetable, and still go out and then still get the 4 years and everything else he wanted. People have discounted that, like, he'll go to New York and get 164 and play for 3 years. I think that's, I don't want to say it's dumb, but the idea that he wouldn't at this moment in time in his life, this is the lowest moment of his career, at the highest moment, all in a week, right? He was going into free agency. Don't think he's not affected by the love he's been shown by this city, this area, and that team, because I think it'll weigh heavily on his decision.
He's been affected from the time he chose to leave OKC. And Bob Myers and Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and the rest of that organization has had time to show him how much they care about him and how much they want him to be a part of this franchise until he retires. Isaiah and I talked about it before. I don't see no other Steph Curry on any other team. I don't see no other Klay Thompson on any other team. Draymond, the whole little skirmish they had early in the season. I still don't think Kevin Durant wants to leave this situation to go somewhere else.
All right, Noah, did you say skirmish?
Skirmish.
I think it's skirmish.
Skirmish, gamish.
No skirmish. Where's our philosopher, Isaiah? He'll be back soon. We've got more coming up, including talking about Boogie, who boogied down big time in Game 5.